What's up? It's Trey Harris here, wide receiver for Los Angeles Chargers, and you're tuning in to Chargers Unleashed.
Welcome to another edition of Chargers Unleashed. Jake Hefner and Dan Wolkenstein here with you from the LAFB Network. If this is your first time tuning in to the show, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button on YouTube. You can also follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. Dan Wolkenstein. The Los Angeles Chargers are right on the precipice of doing something that they have not done for the better part of 20 years. That is going 3-0 to start the regular season, possibly going up 3-0 by getting 3 wins in consecutive weeks in their own division. Lots to get into. I know that Dan and I did not get a chance to do the recap of the Monday Night Football matchup after the Chargers win against the Las Vegas Raiders. So there's going to be a lot that we're going to cover into this one because we're going to try to compound 2 episodes into one. So we will obviously be giving our short recap as it relates to the Monday night matchup. We've got 4 voicemails that we need to get to based on your guys calling into the Chargers Unleashed Hotline. Thank you so much for that. And then, of course, we are going to break down the pivotal matchup for the real home opener. Denver Broncos coming to the Los Angeles Chargers this Sunday. Dan Wolkenstein, how are you, sir?
I'm good. I got that 2-0 vibes, looking for 3-0. Jake, we got to get into it because we got lots to cover. Jake, important question. 1, how are you?
Oh, I thought you were going to rattle off another one. I'm fine. Short answer. Good. Looking forward to Sunday.
Great. Another answer I'd like to hear from you on is how are you sleeping these days?
Not good, Bob. Not good.
Great.
Not good, Bob.
Let's turn that frown upside down. Let's talk about our friends over at Sleeper who can turn that frown into some
what a
cold, hard
transition.
cash.
Holy hell. I was actually not correlating the two, Dan, so that was a little bit of a surprise to me. But what shouldn't be a surprise to anyone out there is the NFL season is here, which means that you now have a chance to win up to 1,000 times your cash on daily fantasy football with Sleeper. Football has never been more exciting than it is right now with players like C.J. Stroud, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Justin Jefferson. Justin Herbert guy over there in Los Angeles is pretty good too. Pick on these stats for any of these stars like touchdowns, passing yards, receiving yards, fantasy points, and more for up to 1,000 times payout on Sleeper. Get your picks right and you could win big. Just make sure to use the promo code Chargers LAFB and you get up to $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper terms for details. Currently operating in over 25 states. Check out Sleeper today.
All right, Jake. Well, before we get to week 3, which is going to be exciting, let's get to week before that. Wow, I can't get that out of my mouth. Week 2, Chargers Monday Night Football rivalry, quote unquote, against division foes of the Las Vegas Raiders. Chargers win pretty handily. They kind of try to make it interesting a little bit.
Are you calm now? Have you come down off of your 50-foot ledge that you were on just a week ago?
I was teetering. I was on the tightrope a bit.
Man.
I was scared, man. My past demons, the PTSD from old, like they were getting to me. But the Chargers team came out, the defense especially came out and just slammed the brakes. And we have covered this team together now for, I think this is year 6 that we've been doing this. Year 5 or 6, which is insane. I have never seen a secondary play as well collectively with this Chargers organization than I saw against that Raiders team. You saw the number of pass breakups. We've all seen 12 of them or 15, some crazy number. Those corners and safeties were absolute glue. And they had Geno in a death grip all night. You saw the meme of him afterwards. He just looked so disheveled. I felt so bad for him. No, I didn't. I didn't at all feel bad. So shout out to Jesse Mentor, Steve Clinkscale. Michael Jordan joined the house.
Jeez.
Deion Henley with like the 101 temperature goes out there with the flu and ho-hum, sack, interception on the first play. I think there's some tackles for loss. 10 tackles. The man was an absolute menace. You see him do that QB spy thing again. Defense was all over the place. The interior defensive line looked fantastic. Don't look now. Jamar Caldwell, guys, pretty good.
Hey.
Pretty good. Unfortunately, we saw some things that didn't go their way. Chargers got the news that Khalil Mack on IR. Offense looked pretty good for the first 3 quarters or so. A little shaky in the fourth. Quentin Johnston, another touchdown. Justin Herbert slinging it still. Again, not all great, right? Look, there's some things to work on, especially after a win. You'd love to see it. But Jake, I went through a few of the highlights, a few of the things that were gleaning for me. What about you? What did I miss?
Yeah, I'll get to the Jesse Minter special in a second. Let's talk about just the offense performance. Look, the Chargers are going to have games like this. And as good as they looked and as good as Greg Roman's game plan was schemed in Sao Paulo in week 1 against the Chiefs, this one against the Raiders, it felt very Jekyll and Hyde because it started off and you started feeling like, oh my God, like this feels like the game plan from a year ago. This seems like the offense from a year ago with some of the things that they were running and them trying to hit Quentin Johnston on some deep balls on the sidelines. And you're just like, oh no, like don't do this again. And then all of a sudden, a few drives later, it wakes up and it becomes familiar and it takes some of those aspects that we saw in week 1. And credit to Quentin Johnston, man, faking the cross route and then going back outside for Justin Herbert to hit an absolute teardrop, perfectly placed football for a 60-yard touchdown. Couldn't get any better than that. Justin, again, was utilizing his legs. When he saw short yardage opportunities, he took it. He hit Ladd. He hit Keenan. Trey Harris even gotten a little bit more involved in the game. Let's just stop with the end arounds, whether it's to Quentin Johnston or even more so to Darius Davis, especially on a 4th down play. Let's stop that because you had 4th and Keenan be successful earlier in the game. Let's put a little bit more trust there. But in general, one of the biggest things...
Have you ever seen 4th and Davis ever work? Honestly.
No. It reminded me of the fourth and 1 play way back when Darren Sproles was still on this team and he was running right up the gut against the Baltimore Ravens and just got blasted in the backfield, and that ended that game swiftly.
It reminded me of the Darius Davis 4th down end around last year. It's the exact same effing thing. I'm like, what are we doing? You got 15,000 pounds of beef in front of you, like top choice prime A, and you're going with like the hey diddle diddle, let's put freaking Darius Davis flying around 4.3 speed. Why?
Not the best, Bob. The other thing that was
there's some questions for 0-1 Greg Roman that game.
The other prominent thing that was evident was the lack thereof of the Chargers running game. Yeah. And when they were choosing to run the ball, and when they ran it, they did not get very much success out of it at all. Through the first 2 weeks, Dan, the Chargers are actually, I think it's 3rd lowest in overall running back production after contact. So they definitely need to get better on that. Harbaugh has talked about that. I think you're going to see, not that we don't love watching Justin Herbert take the ball in his old hands and slinging it around the yard, but you got to mix it up a little bit. And that's what you drafted Omarion Hampton for. That's what you brought in Najee Harris for. So I think that is something that gradually over the next few weeks, we are going to see improve. Now, Jesse Minter is an absolute psychopath. He is out of his freaking mind.
You remember when we had Michigan folks on our show talking about, we had Brett Coleman talking about this little thing, and everyone was like, all right, you're a little too high on Jesse Minter. We saw what happened with Brent. No, like this guy is a whole different beast.
I go back to those quotes from Mike Elston when Jim Harbaugh was putting this staff together when he came over to the Chargers. And he said that Jesse Minter was the most intelligent defensive coordinator that he's ever met. And you're talking about a guy who has been in football for 26 years. And he's saying this about Jesse Minter. Jesse Minter is a nutbag. He is insane with what he is able to create. And you got to tip it off to Deion Henley to have his Michael Jordan flu game coming into the game. Of course, the day of is put on the injury report as questionable with an illness. I do not know what was brought back from Sao Paulo or if he shared some of Mekhi Becton's
leftover
food.
Beans and rice.
But hopefully we are past all of that shit, no pun intended, moving into this week. Deion Henley, 10 tackles, 1 sack, 1 interception. absolutely insane for the conditions that he came into that game, Dan. We heard the reports that he was even crying at one point on the sidelines because he was feeling just so ill. And then you mentioned it, the secondary stepped up. Derwin James just doing Derwin James things. Dante Jackson had a fantastic game. Tarheeb still taking on Ashton Genty by himself with some of those tackles that he was laying out there. It was a masterclass that you should go back and watch film on in terms of how secondary plays.
Cam Hart, Tony Jefferson, Alohi Gilman. I mean, it was a collective effort. I have never seen, and again, PFF isn't the gospel, but I have never seen so many green-colored grades for a DB squad.
It's pretty good.
Unreal. Absolutely unreal. A couple other things, Jake. One of the things we were all concerned about, most of us anyways, was can they protect Justin? I mean, I feel like this offensive line, again, we're talking pass protection specifically, and we can extend that to the running backs and to the tight ends. But round of applause for weeks 1 and 2. No way did I expect this offensive line, without Rashawn Slater, to perform this admirably against two, I would call, borderline elite fronts. Yeah, Chris Jones, Karlaftis, and company with Kansas City. You've got Max Crosby, who in my mind is the best edge rusher in the NFL, paired with Malcolm Kuntz and the rest of that group.
Tyler Booker.
What you saw from Joe Alt, which is kind of to be expected, but what you saw from Trey Pipkins, what you saw from Mekhi Becton, what you saw from Zion, like you actually saw Justin with time for days. And it showed. I mean, look at Justin's stat line, 19 for 27, 242, 2 touchdowns, just 2 sacks. Compare that to Geno Smith, 24 for 43, 0 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Literally had 16 more pass attempts and 60 less yards. But I agree with you, Jake. As much as we want to see Justin with his legs, I don't think Justin should be the leading rusher of this team.
No.
And in this game, 9 carries for Justin, 8 for Najee, 8 for Omarion. I think that Najee was going to tick up a bit as he continues. But Jake, folks were excited. At the end of the day, there were some miscues in that fourth quarter by the Chargers offense. You saw some turnovers. You saw some questionable calls that I'm sure Greg Roman probably would want back. I'm sure Justin would want back with that close to interception, the 4th down call. You saw the fumble by Martin Hampton at the one time Max Crosby gets in. But the defense said not today. Defense says, I can care less what you do. 3 field goals, that's all you're getting. And Jake, you and I were texting when it happened. The pivotal point of that entire game was that 11-minute drive by the Raiders that went for like 35 hours. It felt like it was like 19 plays, 11 plus minutes. And you and I were texting. We're cool with taking the clock off.
Totally.
Just keep them out of the end zone.
Yeah.
If this is a field goal drive, it's a win.
There were 2 possessions in the third quarter. The first was by the Chargers, and they took like nearly 8 minutes off the clock. And the Raiders went beyond the third quarter, and that drive extended into the beginning of the fourth.
When you're up 2 scores going into half, or at some point, and then the net for the next quarter is you split, that's a win.
But the best was the tweets after that. That forever drive that ended in a field goal where they said, so the Raiders just drove 19 plays for essentially a half hour, and they were down 2 scores to kick a field goal, which now brings them to
2 scores.
Still 2 scores.
But think about that. That's got to be so demoralizing.
It's a huge win for the defense after all that, because you know that you're just sucking wind out there. Yep. Even if they're not breaking off big plays, just still to hold them to a field goal after a drive like that.
And that's what you wanted. Like, that's what Jesse Minter does. Like, he makes you beat him by 1,000 cuts, and he assumes that at some point you're going to make a mistake. And they capitalize. So, Chargers to get the win on to 2-0 ahead of everybody else in the AFC West. Sole possession of first place, now going into week 3 against the Denver Broncos at SoFi. Jake, got some voicemails to get to here real quick before you head on to the Denver Broncos game. Again, 323-902-7586 is the number to the Chargers Unleashed Hotline. Let's hear what the voicemails have to say. First one here. Again, we have 4. There were a few in here. Some of them are way long, so I couldn't do all of them. But here is voicemail number 1. It says freaking devilish. Sounds like Jake after.
Sounds like Seth Rollins, honestly.
Raiders fans, where you at? You sons of dirty.
Finish the
I'm
sentence.
not even gonna say the word. You know what? PG-13. You guys said.
Hey,
Look what you've done, Dan. Look what you've done.
Family,
what you've
trust,
done.
respect. Look what we just got. Look
Wow.
what we just got. Well done, caller.
PG-13.
I'm not sure how I feel about this.
This is respectful banter. I like this.
Like, it's family trust respect. Let it out.
Jake was waiting for just like the.
I was like, that sounded like it was going to be something dirty and vile and visceral, and I was ready for it.
Calm, cool, collected, kept it tame. PG-13.
Yes. Sorry,
Check
we'll
this
go back
shit
to the
out. I'm gonna
voicemail.
say it just like Keenan Allen said it, buddy. Monday night, we come through, we turn up, and we fuck shit up. Tell them weak ass Raiders fans to go home. I love you guys. Can't wait to hear this on the next episode. And honestly, if you guys haven't seen it yet, go look at Sean Merriman's Twitter account. He put up a video of him doing belt to ass because that's exactly what we gave the Raiders. They deserve it. Those degenerate SOBs. They deserve every
go.
bad thing that happens
Way back.
Oh, yeah.
to them. Screw them. Let's go. 2-0. We run the division.
Yeah, he got the polite out of his system.
It went from like PG-13 R back
Yes.
to PG-13.
It should have been like PG-13 for the next 5 seconds. Then we're going to go to full rated R. Great voicemail.
Felt good though, right? Like for Chargers fans, it
Definitely.
felt good.
I like how he mentioned the Merriman boot to ass or belts to ass because I saw him down there in the box just dropping the belt. That was great.
Oh man, they've got quite the win streak here against Las Vegas. So those Raiders fans could chirp all they want, but they should try to win a game here before they start talking. Next voicemail, Jake.
Dan, Jake,
Oh boy.
Oh, he's coming for you, Dan. He's coming for you.
this is fan favorite, Ethio.
He's not doing himself any favors. Maybe he is. Maybe he's not.
See what he has to say.
Who's got it better than Ethio? Nobody. 2 down, 11 to go.
Quick math. 13 wins is what he has. 2 down, 11 to go.
You kidding me? He probably, if I remember correctly, he had us as undefeated. Justin Herbert's going to win the MVP. Omari and Hampton was going to be Rookie of the Year. Justin's
won the
going to throw
lottery.
for 5,000 yards, 40 touchdowns. Yeah. And he was calling it from last year. He has the Chargers winning the Super Bowl this year.
Yeah, 13. I think that's 13 wins he's calling.
Let me start off with this. I saw the show last week, all of it. The things that you said at the end were stupid and ridiculous. Only thing I'm going to say, brother, keep drinking the poison Kool-Aid of the Baltimore Ravens and the Buffalo Bills. They are fraud. I told you this a long time ago, but keep drinking that Kool-Aid, and then you're going to look like a moron at the end of the year.
Who's he talking to?
Talking to you.
But wait, is he saying that I need to keep thinking that Buffalo and Baltimore are good teams?
Well, obviously, that's
Sorry.
a fact. That's a fact.
It's Kool-Aid.
I think he started off criticizing your little rant that you went off on the last live show when you were talking about, don't be like the old Chargers and, miss an opportunity to take a 2-0 lead in the division, especially with Kansas City losing and, this, that, and the other. Yeah, Dan had a little bit of a moment.
I did.
He had a little bit of a crash out in the last live show. So I think Athir started criticizing you there, and then it went to like, what do you mean? Last time we played Baltimore, they kicked the ever-loving shit out of us. So
Because I told you the Chargers are winning 13 games and will have the best record in the AFC going into the playoffs. Now, to my bold prediction for Sunday, Charger defense will rise up and hold the Broncos to under 21 points. I'm going Thule coming out party, 3 sacks, 1 forced fumble. Chargers win 24-13.
Okay, holds him under 21 points, gets him to 13, 3 sacks, 1 fumble from Thule. I mean, it's bold.
Thule was one of my X factors in the last game, Dan, and it becomes even more relevant now with Khalil Mack being on short-term IR.
Mm-hmm.
Thule's going to have to step up for sure, even with the signings of Cleveland Farrell. You know, you're now probably going to activate Kyle Kennard going into this game, but Thule's going to drive the ship as it relates to the pass rushing ability of the Chargers. He's going to have to bring it.
Thank you very much. I still love you, my baby.
See, Dan, that's all love.
Well, that's like
Even if he says that you're stupid and moronic and keep drinking the poison, it's all love at the end of the day.
That is the fattest compliment sandwich I've ever
Yes.
seen. It's like, eat a slice of bread.
It's like Ricky Bobby.
Stick of hate.
It's like Ricky Bobby. It's like, with all due respect, it's like I said, with all due respect, it doesn't mean you get to say whatever you want to say to me. It sure as heck does. It's in the Geneva Convention.
323-902-7586. We're in our feelings. Let's get to the next voicemail here as we get to the Broncos game ahead.
Jake, Dan, what's going on, guys? This is Matthew. Went to the game yesterday, and it was really cool to see Wade and Pete playing the Raiders fans saying goodbye to them. You know,
Love that feeling.
They suck, and he just scored a touchdown, which is freaking crazy. And that's what happens when you have a defense like us, man. Freaking crazy. I never expected a defense like that, man. It's really exciting to have Jesse Minter, you know, coaching this team up, and I'm really going to miss him, you know. Hopefully he doesn't go. Just hope.
We're already at the point where we know it's a foregone conclusion. Minter's gone. We know, right? We've all braced for it. We tried telling you.
Hopefully Stacey's like the Chiefs defense coordinator, you know, it keeps staying along and long. You know?
That would be wonderful, by the way. I want that loyalty. That's like
nice.
The anti-meme that you see of like the guy walking with the girl, turns around, sees the other girl, you see it already put different memes on.
Yeah, it's not that.
It's the opposite of that.
Right.
It's like he looks back, he's like, nah, I'm good. You think Justin Herbert, Madison Beer? It's like, nope, like, I'll stay here.
You know, but we'll see what happens. But yeah, really exciting game and stuff. I'm getting a little frustrated with Greg Roman, you know, trying to be all cute and like with throwing the ball to Quentin Johnson 1-1. I don't know why he keeps doing that, and it's irritating, but
First quarter, yep.
it is what it is. So just and also this running game is it's getting a little concerning and stuff. So I don't know if there's should we be concerned about this run game, or it's just part early of the week. But really exciting. Now we got a big game on Sunday against the Broncos. I mean, it'd be a huge statement if we can beat them and be 3-0. And
Don't you go hypotheticals with the ifs. The theory's going to come at you like a freaking dragon. It's a foregone conclusion that they are winning this in 10 more games afterwards.
That's a theory talking.
Yes, careful. This is an if.
so very, very excited. We'll see what happens Sunday, and hope Khalil Mack is okay, but it looks like he might be out for quite a while. But we'll see what happens, man. But you guys are awesome. Keep it up. And as always, fuck the Raiders. They deserve it. Love you guys. Bolts up.
Appreciate it. I was just going to mention, I'm not sure if that was just from him going to the game, going to Vegas, and then I'm not sure if you're in Vegas or wherever you're at. If you had to travel home, maybe that was why your energy just felt a little bit low. I'm not sure if you're tired. I'm not sure if you're jet lag. I just expected a little bit more energy out of that, just a little bit more. But some of the things that he touched on, Dan, relevant. We touched on it as well. Greg Roman having a little bit of Jekyll and Hyde as far as some of those series that he called. But hey, thrown to Quentin Johnson, he leads the team right now as it relates to touchdowns with 3 in the first 2 weeks of the season. I get it. I understand it. Greg Roman just needed to obviously get a couple of plays out of the playbook, and hopefully when they went into film session this week, there's some good examples of maybe some things that shouldn't be doing, especially against this Denver Broncos defense with a guy named Patrick Surtain back there that'll be covering Quentin Johnston throughout the duration of this game. So, again, I think you can win games without the running game, but it's not long-term sustainable. So I definitely think that the Chargers are going to work to bring that back up from the depths that it currently is right now. But overall, I think Greg Roman has done a pretty damn good job for the first 2 weeks, especially against these divisional opponents. And considering what we saw from him last year, I think this is a big jump.
Last voicemail, Jake, before we get to the Broncos game at SoFi.
Yeah, FTR. We're talking on a Raiders fan.
Where is he?
The dichotomy between this call, 5 seconds of this call, and the entirety of the last call is night and day.
He sounds like me when I was trying to keep the kids asleep, but I was so jacked up. I'm like, yes, baby.
Yes. But he also sounds like he doesn't know where he is at that moment. Like he's having the out of body experience because he's so stoked that the Chargers won. I feel it. I've been there. I know what that is like.
There's a lot of great things in this game. Herbert looks as excellent as he is, my powder blue king. That Dion, like Michael Jordan in Game 7 with
I'm back.
the flu. It doesn't matter. He's just elite. I love it. Duran James is Duran as always. He just plays defense the right way. There was a lot. I'm sad about Khalil being out. That was a tough pill to swallow because he always gets his against the Raiders. For the first week we played them. That being said, holding a team that scores 20, it was the Patriots, but still holding a team, especially with Genty. Genty's so awesome. I hate it.
Honestly, I felt that so often throughout that game. By the way, like we're not going to talk about like we're ping ponging them with this call, but damn it, like Brock Bowers is good. Like they got Jack Besh. I love Ashton Genty. Like they got dudes, man.
They weren't even relevant. Honestly, they didn't end up being relevant. But I love that last sentence because it just sounded like he was having a little mini argument with himself. He's just Ashton Genty's so good, man. I hate him. God, I hate that guy. That's so freaking good.
Why did the Jags have to trade up to 2? The point is that defense holds strong. But there's still things working on. Mainly in the offense. Here's what I will say. I don't care how we beat the Broncos.
Mm-hmm.
We can beat them by any means necessary. Mm-hmm. We have to fix the problems on offense, mainly running the ball. The best team to do it really is against the Giants. They're just we can bleed the clock in that game, get ahead early.
He's already on the Giants.
Oh yeah,
it's bad over there, and we grind out to that.
Giants catching strays.
Jeez,
because the D line.
Week 3 preview, not a Week 4 preview.
Was just nasty, but
okay, all right. We love you guys. These ourselves are amazing. Let's try to keep it 30 seconds if we can. Got a lot of people that you should try to call in, and we also got a show to do. But yes, damn it, Ashton Genty's good. Glad he's non-factor. Glad they got to play him this early in the season. FTR, Chargers got the W.
Think you covered it?
I think about covers it. Jake, Chargers 2-0.
Athir's pissed at you, but you're still okay in his book. Whatever.
You can't have everything. Not everyone could be happy with you. That's okay. But Jake, Chargers 2-0, Broncos 1-1 after that comical, I'll call it, way to lose a game. Brutal against the Colts. But before we get to that, Jake, got to pay the bills.
Oh, yeah.
We've gone through a brunt of this episode talking all things Raiders and the dub, but it feels so good. But now, Jake, let's talk about our new friends over at Brunt.
Nice reach for the transition, by the way. That was pretty good. Yep. So Brunt was tired of the workwear brands out there that are cutting corners. You work too hard to be stuck in uncomfortable boots that do not hold up. So they built something better. Boots that are insanely comfortable and built for any job site. For a limited time, our listeners here on Chargers Unleashed can get $10 off at Brunt when you use the code LAFB at checkout. Just head on over to bruntworkwear.com. Use the promo code LAFB and you're good to go. And after you order, they're going to ask you where you heard about Brunt. And you make sure to let them know that it was Chargers Unleashed that sent you.
Bo Nix, Nick Bonito, Pat Surtain, Marvin Mims,
J.K. Dobbins.
Return of the J.K. Dobbins. The ever-loving matchup between these two coaches. There's no loss of love lost, if you will.
No loss of love lost.
This is a fun one. I think this is probably the second most anticipated matchup of the first 3 weeks. I think this is one that was kind of a barometer. A lot of folks were real high on this Broncos team. They looked pretty good week 1, week 2. I mean, not like you say often, not great, Bob. And the way that they lost that game was brutal. Absolutely brutal. Bo Nix has not been who we thought he was going into the season. It's early. He can still be that dude. But don't underestimate him. Like, he still has that ability in him. You see him on the extension of plays. You see him on the arm that's lively when he gets that out. This is kind of similar to the Mahomes type game. You want to keep him contained, keep him in the pocket, make him beat you. Don't let the running game get loose. Jake, this one's going to be a good one. By all means necessary. You heard the caller earlier. Chargers are down some dudes. Wheel Mac's not there. Ladd apparently is supposedly going to be playing. It doesn't.
He's
look
playing.
It doesn't look like Elijah Molden will be there.
Will Disley is also out.
So will this be the Rondé Gadsden game?
Probably bring in Tucker Fisk just from the blocking standpoint because your best blocking tight end is out. So maybe you have to wait another week to see the OG out there.
But can this Chargers team establish the run? Can Justin Herbert continue his blazing hot start? And can Jim Harbaugh find somehow, some way to get this Chargers team through the gruesome 3-week schedule that we saw, 3-0? Jake, what are your kind of 50,000-foot views of this Broncos team and what you're looking to expect at the macro level before we get to the offense versus defense and before we get to the key matchups and stuff?
Yeah, you touched on it, Dan. Don't underestimate Bo Nix. Do not let that L last week against the Colts fool you. That was a heartbreaker of a mistake on a special teams, play in order to try to block the field goal. And that's not why the Denver Broncos lost the game, because Bo Nix was still pretty damn good in that one, throwing it for over 200 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 1 interception. He can move the ball. And when he's got guys like Cortland Sutton and now the emerging Troy Franklin, Dan, we talk about this secondary and their work that they did against the Kansas City Chiefs and more notably against the Las Vegas Raiders next week. This might be actually their toughest matchup through the first 3 weeks in terms of who they have to cover. There's some big responsibilities that these corners are going to have going into this game. So, defensively, Denver is going to bring it. You know that for certain. And this offense is it's sneaky good. It can be very explosive. And now you've got a rejuvenated J.K. Dobbins to pair with a two-headed monster with him and R.J. Harvey. And J.K. Dobbins is coming. I mean, hey, you wouldn't expect anything less from competitors just in general. J.K. doesn't have any ill will towards the Chargers, but he said, I want 100 yards against this team. I want to get that. And he's been off to a great start throughout the first 2 weeks. So I expect this matchup in general to be close, competitive, much in the way that I have felt about the first 2 weeks. So Chargers, the for real home opener, Bolfam needs to come out.
I think it's 139 yards and 2 touchdowns through the first 2 games for J.K. Dobbins. He's looked pretty good. The first game, R.J. Harvey looked pretty damn good too. In the second game, stymied. I think he just had 5 attempts for like 8 yards or something like that. But If you can stop J.K. Dobbins and you can contain Bo Nix, in my opinion, that's a win. Now, you know that this Broncos defense is good, right? And what is the admiration versus the rule when you look at Indianapolis, right? They haven't punted yet in the NFL season so far, but you still saw some folks go off against them. I mean, look at that Colts game. I mean, Jonathan Taylor looked pretty darn good. Just saying. Daniel Jones, I mean, what is going on here? To me, again, this is similar to week 1. If you can keep Bo Nix contained in the pocket, which again is going to be tough without Khalil Mack now. There's a lot of variables there we got to discuss. And if you can contain the run game, which I feel pretty good about that. I trust the secondary. I trust the safeties. I trust Dayon to do their thing. So, Jake, do you want to start with the Chargers offense versus the Denver's defense, or the Denver Chargers offense versus Broncos defense, or vice versa?
Vice versa. For some reason, I've got a good track record of starting in the reverse order because we know what the Chargers offense is essentially going to be about. So let's start with going behind enemy lines and starting with the Denver Bronco offense against Los Angeles Chargers defense. Look, as I was mentioning, Bo Nix is a threat. Do not underestimate him. He's capable with his arm. He's capable with his legs. He's not doing the best right now as it relates to throws that are 10 plus yards and beyond. I know sometimes he loves to just rocket it down the field. And last year he was finding a lot of success with that. But I think that they're going to try to tailor this offense a little bit more dialed back for him, a little bit more that you can keep the defense out on the field a little bit more this time around. And again, Cortland Sutton, Troy Franklin. The wide receivers of the Chargers defense, specifically the secondary, is going to have the responsibility for going up against. They can move the ball, and they are damn good receivers. And especially when you have Troy Franklin all of a sudden waking up to start the season through these first 2 weeks, that's going to be an issue that you have to look at. And Dan, I think that, Sean Payton and Jim Harbaugh are cut from the same cloth in this regards. You know that Sean Payton's going to want to run the football. This is a la what he did when he was in New Orleans with Alvin Kamara. Now, he may not be getting that same type of success. It may be more of a running back style by committee between J.K. Dobbins and R.J. Harvey. But I think that they're going to try to wear this defense out. I think that's going to be their game plan. Make the field shorter for Bo Nix. Get him a number of those different completions. Try to extend some of those long drives and cap it off with some points. And if need to, if you end up throwing the play action, are you going to be able to catch the secondary that's off their back foot and one of these guys springs free? It's already happened in week 1. You already saw a couple plays that Patrick Mahomes was able to get deep to Hollywood Brown or Tyquan Thornton, and you had some of those busted plays. Don't allow that to happen this week. It is much more of a bigger threat this week than what it was going into the Raiders game last week of happening with the receivers that you have and the way that Sean Payton constructs his offense and what Bo Nix can do. So don't allow that to happen. So what do you need to do as a defense? Well, it starts with pressuring Bo Nix. That's for one. And Tuli Tuipulotu has a big responsibility on his shoulders heading into this week. Dan, I had Deion Henley and Tuli as two of my X factors in that Raiders game. That felt good to see. Tuli batted a couple passes, generated a good amount of pressures. You started to see that Chargers pass rush wake up a little bit, not just from the edge group in Tuli, but from the interior of the offensive line as well. So Dan mentioned Jamari Caldwell obviously getting his first sack earlier. T.R. Tart has obviously just been a menace over the first 2 weeks of the season. So you're going to have to try to break through this Denver offensive line and create pressure, make Bo Nix feel uncomfortable. You're not going to have Evan Ingram out there for this game. So it's in terms of just covering the middle of the field, be disciplined. I still expect Deion Henley to lead this team in the middle for this one, but generate pressure. Do not allow some of the big bombs to their wide receivers, and try your best to limit the running game of the Denver Broncos because they're coming to run it.
Yeah. And this is kind of one of those blueprints where if you can, similar to the Chiefs game, but also maybe also the Raiders game, like keep it in front of you, make them dink and dunk, don't give up the explosives. Similar to my concern about the Trey Tucker deep shot, like that's the Troy Franklin, Marvin Mims play style. Like they'll get that 2 receptions, 70 yards, a touchdown type thing. Eliminate the explosives. You should be okay. I don't think that Bo Nix and company can dink and dunk their way down the field against Jesse Minter defense.
Which is a great point, Dan, because there's 2 things I want to bring up. Thus far against zone defense, that's actually where the Denver Broncos receivers have found their most success. But we know that Jesse Minter runs zone defense at a very good clip. And just as a reminder, everybody, this is the Chargers secondary stats through the first 2 weeks in terms of what they've allowed. This is per PFF. In general, the Chargers secondary has allowed has produced an 84 coverage grade collectively throughout all the corners and the safeties. 20 targets, 4 completions. That's ridiculous. And these are versus throws that go 10 or plus more yards. So anything that's going beyond 10 yards, the Chargers, they've seen 20 targets and they've only allowed 4 balls to be caught.
The 20% completion percentage, if you're doing the math. 3
interceptions. All in this is still all in the same stat. My favorite one, Dan, against passes that are thrown beyond 10 yards, it's a 32.5 passer rating allowed. It's pretty nasty. Keep that up.
I'm telling you, they have been sticky. And you look at pressures, man. Thule had a great game this past week. 6 pressures for him. He got 5 hurries. He had 4 pressures for Jamar Caldwell. Tyre Tart doing Tyre Tart things. Deshaun Ham was getting in there. You saw Dan Henley. Like, if they can beat them with 4, 5 at times, but if they can win at the point of attack with 4, they're good. I think you're good. To me, again, like this is please, fingers crossed. If the same blueprint works for the Raiders as this one, golden. Like if I see another 19 play, 11-minute drive ends in a field goal, I'll be like, sweet, done. That's a wrap.
Just don't have it be like the final play of the game or final drive of the game. Hell no.
Right. Jake, anything else on the Denver offense that you wanted to touch on?
No.
Okay. The one thing I would say, look, their offensive line is pretty good. Like Garrett Bowles is ridiculous.
It's a good offensive line.
I love Quinn Manners. He's good too, man. They really don't have that big of a weakness. Like they're pretty solid. Like maybe it would be their center and left guard that you'd want to be kind of focusing on, like the Wattenberg Powers combo. But I don't know. Like their offensive line's pretty good. This is going to be kind of like a win by committee approach, and you're just going to have to be physical for 4 quarters.
If Jesse Minter schemes up another play where Derwin James is coming in and cracking down on an offensive lineman so that Thule, in this case, would have to be pulling the stunt from the opposite side and getting to the quarterback, it's just disgusting. It seems like it should be outlawed, but Derwin James is capable of such things.
Yep. All right, Jake. Chargers offense versus the Broncos defense. Can we see a resurgence of this Chargers running game? Do you think this is the week that it happens?
I hope you can take what Indy found to be successful with Jonathan Taylor, because he was able to go, just under 150 yards rushing. Obviously, a bulk of that came on one big run that he had. But I hope you're able to take some film away from what they were able to find success on and bring a little bit more balance to your offense. I thought that they were going to be able to find that success against the Raiders. And unfortunately, just from the standpoint of not producing and also just not calling many run plays between Najee Harris and Omarion Hampton, that didn't happen. I'm really hoping that they can get back to that.
Jonathan Taylor last week, just a quick few stats with him. Jonathan Taylor last week against this vaunted Broncos defense, 25 attempts, $165. That's 6.
It was $165. Okay.
That's 6.6 yards per attempt. 135 of those 165 yards were after contact. 8 missed tackles forced.
I should know that. He's on my fantasy team.
Lucky you. 8 missed tackles forced and 3 plays of 10 plus yards and broke off a 68-yard run.
Yeah.
So this could be like Omari Hampton is kind of that archetype. Like he is a bruising, physical downhill runner.
Yep.
That is the archetype that we're looking at. So I think that's a good call with the running game.
Yeah, and I say that, Dan, because this Broncos secondary is much better than the Chiefs. It's much better than the Raiders. And when you have Patrick Surtain, that it's pretty much his biggest responsibility is probably going to be staying on Quentin Johnston throughout the duration of this game. And I say that because Quentin, out of your trio of receivers and Ladd and Keenan, that he's going to be the one that's running the deepest route. So Patrick's going to make sure that he's
a more athletic one.
Yes, that there will be no 60-yard touchdowns to Quentin Johnston happening this week. That'll be his responsibility.
Real quick, imagine if we see Quentin have one of those shot plays against Surtain. Like,
if that's the case, it's probably the one play that Surtain ain't covering. I mean, it's probably going to be like...
I'm saying watch Quentin get a touchdown against Surtain, and the Chargers fandom just absolutely lose its collective mind.
I'm not trying to downplay Quentin, but I highly doubt that would happen against Patrick Surtain. Like I said, it'd probably be the one play. And after that happens, they'd probably be like, Patrick, get your ass back over there on one. What are you doing? Allowing this type of stuff. But yeah, it's still a very talented secondary, Dan. Jedi Barron was a huge favorite of mine throughout the NFL draft process. And of course, ends up being the first round pick that goes to Denver. God damn it, that you have to pair with Patrick Surtain. So this will be interesting to see how the Chargers are going to attack this. Obviously, in terms of offensive line, once again, Denver has a fantastic front that they are capable, even with some of their guys on the defense that are banged up at the moment and that aren't going to make this game. They are deep at that defensive line, and they are more than capable of getting after the quarterback. So Chargers, Mekhi Becton, Trey Pipkins specifically, they're going to have another big game. Protect Justin Herbert, give him time, and if you're running this play action, that's how you're going to be able to make it successful.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, Nick Nito's a stud, right? I got Justin Strnad, who I like. Jaquan McMillan is very good in the middle. Like, I can't really talk negatively about that team too much. Right, like they are a little banged up. There are some folks who are not playing, which I think the Chargers are benefiting from. But I mean, that said, like again, I gotta give the roses to the Chargers offensive line. If they can get through this game, and we have the same feeling as we did last game, I don't know, man. Like, what are we looking at? I mean, Nick Nito has gotten I think 11 total pressures in 2 games, like an absolute beast. Justin Strnad has looked good. I mean, to me, this is going to be, can this Chargers offensive line continue to win? If the Chargers offensive line can continue to win, I trust Justin with his complement of weapons now that can now get open against any secondary if he's clean. And now that he's healthy, like that's the ultimate X factor. Is a healthy Justin Herbert, if the pocket doesn't hold true, he can escape. He has escaped so far in 2 games. And this is not, I guess this is kind of shade at Tua from last night's game, but you can see the difference and the eye test of a Josh Allen, a Justin Herbert, a Lamar Jackson type versus a Tua type. Because when Josh Allen, when Justin Herbert get outside the pocket, you are holding your breath as an opposing fan base or opposing defense. But when Tua escapes the pocket or that archetype, you don't have that scramble ability, it rarely ends well for him. With Justin being healthy, he now has that X factor in his back pocket. And people are noticing. And it's hilarious, by the way, how many folks are now on the Justin Herbert bandwagon, and this is the best I've ever seen Justin Herbert play, and da-da-da-da-da-da. And
don't say it yet, because the moment that the Chargers lose a game, you know that they're all going to revert back to, I told you so. This is what I've been telling you for the past 5 years.
Yeah, the goalposts are going to move.
Yes, it's just how it is.
So if you can stay efficient, I would love to see this Chargers team get that running game going, because at this point, I think that's the one part that is yet to be unlocked, which is weird for a Greg Roman offense.
Definitely.
For an offense that brings in Mekhi Becton and Najee Harris and Omarion Hampton with Jim Harbaugh. Like, they got to get that fixed. So, Jake, anything else on the offensive defense before? I mean, I love the matchups of this Chargers weaponry versus the Broncos secondary or defense in general. Like, before it was Ladd carrying everybody with Justin, and now Justin's got 5-6 dudes.
Keenan's got 2 touchdowns. Quentin has 3 touchdowns. Ladd has not found the end zone yet.
Yeah, I know. He's on my fantasy team.
And it's kind of refreshing, I got to say.
That's what I'm saying. It's nice to be like, oh, cool. They don't have to go to Ladd 14 times in a game.
Right.
So there's a lot of directions they can go. I think that's a huge win for this Chargers team. Jake, most important matchup for you on either side. Let's do one on offense, one on defense. Go.
Mm-hmm. Well, you kind of got ahead of me there, Dan, but my X factor on offense to watch for in this case is going to be that guy wearing 15 that we all love, Mr. Ladd McConkey, specifically for some of the reasons that we just touched on, Dan. Because Patrick Surtain is probably going to be spending his time covering Quentin, or whether it's him or KLS, whoever is basically running the deep route, Patrick's going to try to take that aspect of the offense away, which in this case, I think is going to free up either Keenan Allen or more likely Ladd McConkey. I think the offensive strategy might have to change from Greg Roman and Justin Herbert in terms of where you're going to get certain looks and where you're going to have to prioritize who's going to be open. But I think the middle of the field, based on that, and based on arguably the best defensive player that the Broncos have in their secondary, since he's going to be covering some of those deep routes, I think that's going to free up the middle, Dan. And we've seen what Greg Roman is capable of scheming up, especially when you put Ladd and Keenan right next to each other when they're lined up, how much space that clears out in the middle of the field. So, as I said, Keenan's got 2 touchdowns so far over the last 2 weeks. Quentin has 3 touchdowns in the last 2 weeks. Let's get Ladidi Mekonke some love here in the 3rd week. Let's get him going.
Yeah,
that's who I have as my X factor.
Chargers catch a break, right? No Evan Ingram in this game. Their tight end. Chargers are looking at getting him this offseason. Dre Greenlaw's not playing yet. To me, I think this is my X factor might be Dayon again. I was gonna go with a defensive lineman. I was gonna go with like a Tier Tar or Jamar Caldwell, Naquan Jones type. But to me, I think Dayon probably is the bigger X factor because he impacts both run and pass. He impacts spying on the quarterback. He impacts the containment aspect. Keep this running game out of their hands. If they can contain Bo Nix via spy, edge containment, if you will, whether that's Dayon or the rest of the crew, and if you can keep R.J. Harvey, J.K. Dobbins and company in the backfield, establish that new line of scrimmage, no missed tackles allowed, that's a recipe for success. And what you don't want to see is like 8, 9, 10 tackles from a few different secondary folks. Like, you don't want Derwin with a 10 tackle game. Like, you want Dayon with a 10 tackle game. You want Thule with like a 6, 7, 8 tackle game. You want that stuff staying up front where everything behind are PBUs. Jake, we've arrived. Optimist, pessimist. I'm not sure what the hell we are at this point. But Jake, what is your bold and final score prediction for this one?
I'll give it to Athir because he was on the same line that I was thinking in terms of bold prediction. I think that Thule's going to have to show up again this week. Not that we weren't expecting to see something out of him, but of course, you know, when you're playing with Khalil Mack, everything just gets elevated. But now it's been taken into another realm in terms of what he's going to have to bring to this defense for the next 4 weeks. So, bold prediction, I think Thule gets at least 2 touchdowns. I think he bats it down, I said touchdowns. I meant sacks. Apologies. That would be an all-world game for an edge player to all of a sudden have 2 touchdowns. I got way ahead of my skis there. 2 sacks for Thule. Give me another pass deflection at the line like that. I think it's going to be another big game for him for sure. And for final score, Dan, I'm going to bring it a little bit more dramatic this time around because, again, we talked about collection of weapons that the Denver Broncos have here. Cortland Sutton was barely even a factor last week against Indy, and Denver was still able to put up the points they did offensively. Troy Franklin, Cortland Sutton, didn't even talk about Marvin Mims. Got to keep an eye out for what he can bring to the table. I'm sure that they can scheme him up and get him open. So I'm going to say, Dan, that this is going to be one on the leg of one Cameron big, you-know-what energy.
Big dicker energy.
Yes. 27-24 Chargers, and they go 3-0.
What was the score?
27-24 Chargers. What did I say? That's what I said, isn't it?
Yeah. Just making sure.
Okay. Like, I already confused the terms touchdowns and sacks, so I just wanted to make sure.
27 is going to be tough against this Broncos defense. I know you saw the Colts be pretty effective, but I'm going to go 24-17. 24-20. 24-20.
24-20.
24-20. And I'll
Sounds
go
like a Jesse Minter special.
I will go Chargers this time. This feels like a game in which they can win. This is a recipe. This is a matchup that I do like. But can they do it? Can we get to 3-0 watching this Chargers team? This would be a whole new world. And imagine the glow up going into week 4. Is this team different? Through 2 weeks, the answer is yes. And again, they haven't even played up to their full potential. They still got a run game they can fix. They still got a pass rush that they can fix. But by any means necessary. And competitors welcome.
Necessary.
If you can get out of week 3 with another win and be atop the AFC West with 3 straight division wins, I mean, that is a feather in the cap.
Hell of a start.
2025 season. Bold prediction for me. I teased it earlier. I think Omarion gets 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, I knew you were going to go offense, and that's where I was hoping you were going to go with it.
Omarion, 2 touchdowns, over 100 yards. This is it. This is the game that
This is the game
that Jersey starts selling.
100 yards and 2 touchdowns on the
over
ground.
Over 100 yards, 2 touchdowns for Omarion.
If that's what happened, then you know that Greg Roman watched the Indianapolis Colts game and watched that
watch
for
this
sure.
Show. And watch this show. Hey, Greg.
Hey, all right, kid. We know you got 87 yards and 1 touchdown, but
let's double it.
Let's get another 13 yards and 1 more for the books.
Yep. Cool. Thank you so much, Greg and company. Jake, anything else you want to tell our great friends before we get on out of here for the weekend?
It's been a great start these past 2 weeks for the Chargers in general, this fan base. Appreciate everyone that has been tuning in thus far. We're still only at the beginning of the 2025 regular season, and emotions are already skyrocketing. Appreciate everyone who has called into the Chargers Unleashed Hotline over the last few weeks. You guys know what to do as soon as the Chargers game is over, whether it be a win or a loss. Call that number at the bottom of your screen. Call into the hotline and unleash, no pun intended, your feelings all over that phone. That sounded dirty within itself, and I think it means it's time to go. It's time to wrap up the show. Let's wrap it up, Dan.
323.
Also, no pun intended.
Oh my God, 323-902.
I'm on fire here.
86. Hopefully that's not pun intended. All right. For Jake Hefner, you can find him at Jake T. Hefner on X, myself at Dan W. Sports. Enjoy the weekend. Happy Friday. Hopefully we'll be singing happy songs with happy victory Mondays this time next week. But until then, Jake, have some fun. Have a great weekend. We will talk to you all next time on Chargers Unleashed.